This is the big one, guys. I don't think you're ready for how all-encompassing this competitive overhaul to Overwatch is going to be. Team 4 is cooking up a competitive overhaul that's going to change the culture and reputation of competitive Overwatch for all skill tiers of players. Yes, it's that big. Whether you're an elite player who aspires to compete at the highest level, or just a hardcore fan who plays a lot but has no aspirations to go pro, like me, or a brand new player who's jumping right into the game and trying to transition from other shooters, Blizzard has solutions for everybody, and that's pretty amazing. Now, you're not going to hear the devs sell all of these changes as hard as I'm going to in this video, because y'all got the devs shook out here, okay? They seem to feel like if they underdeliver on anything, the internet is going to come crashing down on them with the fury of 1,000 Asmongold reaction videos.
Holy f***, how f***ing stupid.
But I've been piecing together the changes they're making, and it has me really impressed. So let's break it down. Next season, we get a ranked overhaul. We got a glimpse of this at BlizzCon, completely redesigned to give us a long list of things we asked for, namely transparency in the rank system. Then for higher tier players, out of the ashes of the Overwatch League rises like a phoenix the Overwatch Champions Series, which essentially is just an open esports scene with a couple of global major style events, but regional play otherwise. And you might say that's just for pros, but no, everyone at every skill level can enjoy this change because they also announced Faceit Integration, something that we asked for way back in 2017 when they were first reworking ranked a million years ago. We'll have a lot more to say about this. It's the most underrated improvement for sure. But on top of all of that, there's something way bigger looming that no content creator seemingly has highlighted properly, in my opinion. Recently, our community has been up in arms about the self-heal passive going to all roles, but it pales in comparison to the massive transformative change that they're implying they're looking to do in Season 9. Now, what they have said publicly is they're looking to tone back burst damage and burst healing, which effectively sounds like a power creep nerf. Another way to think of it is a item overhaul like in Diablo, or in Destiny, they often do a sandbox change, which rebalances the entire game. That's the level of thing we're talking about here for Overwatch. It's massive, because what it will require them to do is rebalance the numbers of the entire game, a systems overhaul. Huge deal. Maybe it doesn't get the casuals flocking back like a new hero might, but for dedicated players, this is amazing. Try to remember that when Blizzard does these big patches, they do so with a theme in mind, with a series of goals they're trying to accomplish. Everyone getting a small amount of self-heal is to make the game feel less punishing and frustrating, but it's going to be out of combat because they already said it's a toned down version of the support one, which if it's a few seconds more than what supports get now, then it's not really going to actively add more sustain to the game, because if you listen carefully, they're also saying they're trying to tone that down, and that would be antithetical to that goal. I think if it's too slow, you're not really going to notice it in the game so much. It'll just make it easier to be alive later in the fight when your teammates let you down. It might even just be slower than running to a health pack. On one hand, it is the typical type of Blizzard response to not get us what we asked for, which is many creators agree the support passive is overpowered, but they are right in assuming if everyone kinda gets it, then it'll just give more agency to each individual player. It's not a terrible idea. They also said multiple times that they're looking to address the nothing dies or insta-kill nature of Overwatch 2. When healing numbers are too high, it's frustrating to break through and requires extreme bursts of impact to get anything done. Changing that would be a very noticeable improvement for any veteran or returning Overwatch player. I would guess at that if they were to accomplish what they're aiming to do. It sounds on paper like it would work. Now, of course, they're hesitant to oversell this type of thing because they fumbled the bag so much in the past. I mean, that story mode, PvE, whatever we want to call it, experience to me was a joke, like an abysmal attempt at making a product. And us as consumers, we struggle to know who to trust. I mean, Game Informer called the story missions enormous. And I'm sitting here like, you got to go back to the drawing board on that one, Chief. The Overwatch story mode was worse than every single co-op shooter game I have played in 20 years. All of them. It's not better than a single one. A lot of our streamers apparently liked it, but I think a lot of them don't necessarily have the experience with the competitors of that genre. And, well, they just blow it out of the water as far as I'm concerned. So for me to hear that they're pulling resources away from that failed project Possibly. It sounds like it. We don't know anything about the upcoming missions. Whatever, fine, leave that on the back burner and put more energy into the actual competitive game. I'm ecstatic. I've been asking for these very things 100 years ago, since the GOATS meta, since this hoodie was brand new. I don't think the real impact of this power tuning is being recognized in the community yet, and it's coming in a couple weeks. This is a power creep rebalance, the type that me and my like-minded friends have asked for many times. If they successfully reduce power creep of healing and the punishment of burst impact in the game, I think it will both be less frustrating and more inviting to new players. Keep in mind, they publicly announced that almost all brand new players to Overwatch 2 were Bronze 5, meaning literally the bottom they could potentially put them in the rank system. That is insane to think, and I don't think has ever happened in any other game launch. That means that no other shooter game experience helped prepare you for Overwatch? That's a scary thought. Self-heal and less all or nothing gameplay, I think, smooths that over a bit, and top tier players hating the frustration of breaking through the healing stats, I think also benefit from that change. It sounds right for everyone. So we're not just talking about shiny new rank icons. The sandbox change improves the competitive gameplay of Overwatch, while they also have these new systems for ranked and higher tier play. Let's talk more specifically about the ranked system now. Season 9 is getting the long-awaited ranked overhaul, a soft SR reset, which makes sense because they're changing the game function so dramatically. This is a new version of Overwatch, and different skills will be rewarded. Thankfully, there will be far more transparency on how your rank is changing, thanks to a detailed indicator bar that tells every modifier for each win or loss, including things like if you were disadvantaged or on a win streak. Thankfully, there are new rank icons. Still don't have the charm that the Overwatch 1 icons did, but it's an improvement, and we'll be getting wider matchmaking that allows you to play with different skill tiers of friends, as well as a clear skill rating range at the lobby screen so that you know the type of skill in the lobby you're in. Making grouping easier, I think, is the only controversial change, as it will lead to bigger skill discrepancies in game, similar to the likes of quick play. But personally, because Overwatch is a vastly better experience with friends, I think it's a net upgrade and rewards the type of players that stick around in Overwatch for a long time in friend groups, as opposed to benefiting the solo queue player who only occasionally logs in to throw their ranked placement games. And let's face it, it's a free-to-play game anyway, so getting an account to play with friends isn't so difficult to begin with. So it's not like the ranked restrictions were necessarily working. I think it's likely better to just have it out in the open rather than incentivize smurfing and gaming the rank system. There won't be stacking in Grandmasters, but there will be a new Champions rank that helps solve the problem of the massive skill discrepancy in the top ranks, making high-level ranked more interesting with more to play for. Personally, though, I'm most excited for the Faceit integration, because it helps players at all skill tiers of play in a sort of pseudo team queue type format, which is perfect for an outlet for players that want something even more hardcore than ranked, no matter your skill tier, but especially for top players. Now, if you don't know what Faceit is, here's a clip from good old Eddie the Chump on the channel from 2017. That's how long ago we wanted this.
We've spoken many times about our desire for a team queue on this channel, or in our wildest dreams, a third-party matchmaking queue for Overwatch in the same way Faceit and ESEA does for CSGO and other games. Now, if you don't know who Faceit are, they're a massively respected tournament organizer for a variety of esports games. Most users will have experience with them in games like CSGO or Dota. What they actually do is provide super high quality servers with improved tick rates for their users to play on through a client with their own matchmaker. The entire reason people play using Faceit as a client is to gain access to a more serious, higher quality matchmaker than the endemic ones that come with the host games. The competition on Faceit and ESEA is generally much higher than you'd expect in regular matchmaking. Well, if you're interested in more hardcore team-orientated experiences, having Faceit run Overwatch leagues and cups to play in is an immediate selling point. How Faceit tunes their matchmaker is totally up to them, so that means the measurement of a player's skill is also up to them. In our experience in other games, third parties like Faceit prioritize winning matches as a team, with much more flat rewards and penalties for winning and losing.
Does anybody else feel old now? I know you guys miss Eddie, but he's still here in spirit. In fact, he's the one responsible for the new edits in our new format. So be sure to give him some love in the comment section. The beauty of Faceit being integrated is that there now is a direct pipeline for new talent to grind and go up against the best players in the world. Sadly, the Overwatch League actually made a bit of a walled garden that made it very difficult to move up and improve, whereas an open circuit that we have now functions like all other successful esports have before, allowing a tight-knit group of ragtag aspiring pros to potentially make an exciting bracket run to compete against the best of the best. While I enjoyed what the Overwatch League attempted, overall, Overhaul, the new esports plan for Overwatch 2, is a ton of wish list items I've had for years. And you may not remember this, but back in the day, some of our most successful and some of my proudest content was breaking down top-level strategies in ways that the average player could either utilize or appreciate. This got harder to do over time because the Overwatch League created such a hyper pressure cooker environment where the gameplay kind of got homogenous, and it was hard to tell different narratives or one team from another because things were so samey. Granted, there's a few interesting teams that come along, but there were so many games getting played, it was kind of hard to notice any buildup of momentum towards any given narrative. It was sort of just like grinding a general league format, and some teams had personality, but ultimately the top ones were likely grinding the meta. Whereas in this new open system, especially with regional play, the personalities of the different teams and regions and individual players can be expressed more, and then we'll have a big stylistic clash at these major events. It's exactly what we need, in my opinion, and something that excites me as a content creator to maybe dust off some of those old formats of videos that we made so many years ago. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I think that all of these changes coming together at once can actually make a big enough impact to change the culture and reputation of our game. And I didn't see it coming at all. They keep talking about trying to work towards the live service model, and maybe behind the scenes they might admit, like, earn the 2 next to the title. This kind of thing for diehard competitive players, long list of wish list items. This is a competitive 2.0 that I've always wanted. So let me know your thoughts, and if you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like, and don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon to actually get notified when our videos come out. That's been it for me. I've been Frito for your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.